Hello there, everyone. This is Abby here with another episode of Modern Day Unicorns. And today I have Brother Matthew Seawright joining us today, who has a wonderful journey that I definitely want to hear more about. So, Matthew, please introduce yourself to us. Tell us what you do, who you are, where you're from.
That's a great question and opportunity for me to share. So, how I've been introduced, introduced myself as Harry Matthew Seawright, and you can call me however you know me. In some places, they call me Matthew. That's what I go by commonly. Other spaces, when people know my name is Harry, they'll call me Harry. It's not a everybody gets to call me Harry thing. And then when I'm back home, I'll hear people just Seawright, Seawright. That's the first thing people called me when I moved into my new area. So Harry Matthew Seawright, all of those are my name. I am currently residing in Oakland, California. I live in Oakland, California now. I lived in Maryland for 29 years. I played drums since the age of 2 and 3. I've been working playing drums since the age of 12. I've been receiving a check for playing drums since the age of 12. Through that, I'm the son of a parsonage, as they call it. I'm a preacher's kid on both sides. My mom and dad are preachers. My dad is now a bishop, and I moved to Alabama to help him transition after he got elected. The AME Church is a very political body, and it took him 10 years to get elected. And when he was elected, I decided to help him transition, at which time he got sick. And I devoted myself to helping him get better. And a year turned into 2, and then 2 turned into 3, and then a pandemic hit, and so much was happening. I used that time to finish up some things I've been working on. I am a late graduate, as they call it. Well, not even as they call it, but I wasn't your typical graduate. It took me a long time to graduate, as I've been blessed to be versed in many different things. I just could not lock in on what it is that I was supposed to be doing. Everybody said I was supposed to do something. I wanted to be an architect. I love Legos. I love drawing since 5th grade. I used to skip recess and draw with my 5th grade teacher. I love architecture. I still love architecture. And my plan was to help my dad for a year and go to Omaha, Nebraska and study civil engineering and structural engineering for 5 years and leave with my master's and go there. When he got sick, all that shifted. I tried to finish my degree in business. I had shifted at one point to music. Things took a turn in life. I had to pick up a job. You can't do music virtually. you gotta be there. So I ended up changing my major again to something that was more viable to how I was moving. Through that, found a love for philosophy. Got into an argument with my business law professor, who said, Matt, you have great arguments. You should probably think about studying law. I didn't know how to even be a lawyer. Started studying philosophy, started asking questions, led to questions about myself, which led me to a better and deeper understanding of God for myself and spirituality and what it all means and what religion, the role it played in my life, and not just repeating what I heard, but understanding what it meant to be a Christian, to be a believer, to have trust, complete trust and loyalty in God and what it meant to my life. And that set me on a path of just understanding and seeing myself and others fulfilled in their purpose and being whole. And that journey has been the rest of it, led me to ministry. I'm very, very active in community outreach. And from there, I accepted my call. I was called out by a bishop who just, I don't know if they knew they were talking to me, but they were talking to me. And I answered my call. And in the AME Church, there's a process that we go through ministry. And I have just completed, there's 2 ordinations. And I was just ordained, and I turned a deacon in the AME Church November 6, 2021. I did pastor a church for a period of time. So I've been a pastor. I am currently the young adult representative for my district, which is the state of Alabama. State of Alabama, 9th district amongst 20 in the AME Church. I'm the young adult representative and organizational leader. I'm the president of the Richard Allen Young Adult Council, which is what it's called for my district. And I'm also the connectional editor, which makes me the international editor for the Richard Allen Young Adult Council Connectional Board. So I represent the voices of all young adults in the AME Church throughout the world. Currently, what brought me to Oakland, I was doing tutoring at Stillman College. And the tutor said, hey, we got some opportunities for you all to work in the summer, as well as continuing this work when you go back to school. It'd be a good way for you all to make some money. And I said, well, I don't need that because I'm graduating on Friday. And I'm grateful for my genes. I look a lot younger. People say I look younger than I am, and I'm grateful for that. He just knew I was a freshman or a sophomore at school. And I'm like, no, I graduate Friday. I'm way down the line. And he said, what are you looking at doing for, after? And I said, well, I applied to some schools. I turned down a job that I couldn't take, and I'm really in the air. And he said, well, there's an opportunity for some people. One of the alumni reached out about people going out to California. We're going out for an opportunity to teach. And it's getting Black and brown people in the classroom, but specifically males. Not only are Black people in the classroom, rare, but males in the classroom, period, is rare. And then Black males is even more rare. So just finding out all the information and the opportunity and seeing it as an opportunity to engage and do something different, do something completely out the box. They provided a great opportunity for me to do it. They're helping with the credentialing. So I'm currently a student at Cal State Teach, and I'm earning my teacher credentialing, which will qualify me to teach anywhere in the country at least. When I leave here, I can go anywhere, and I thought that was good, as well as the opportunity to engage the different personalities. I was bought out here, and I applied for a job at the Ujima Foundation, which is an after-school enrichment program housed inside of the school from 2:30 to 6 p.m. every 5 days a week. I was hired by them as the 4th grade enrichment teacher, and I was excited about that because 4th grade was my favorite grade. I'm the 4th grade enrichment teacher. I am also the drum instructor for the drum enrichment, and I'm also the cooking club leader. So I cook. So I cook for them, and I'm teaching them different things that they can make. I was a latchkey child. I don't know if they still call it that, but I was a latchkey child. And there were a lot of things that I had to learn, either on my own or that I was taught, because there were instructions on how to do everything. And my mom wrote instructions on the washing machine. I've been doing my own laundry since I was 5 years old. I've been having to be, focused and have responsibilities just really early. So I wanted to give the kids something when they're home alone, when they're just hungry, they don't have to bother anybody. I can make a grilled cheese. I can make a smoothie in the morning. I can make pancakes. I know how to fry chicken. So they're getting these experiences, and it's cool when they come up and say, hey, Brother Matt, guess what? What? I made dinner last night. What you made? I made a grilled cheese. It's like, oh, for real? Who taught you to do that? You did. Like, yay! So it's working. I wanted something that people could apply to their lives, and they're excited about it. From that opportunity with the after school, I met the principal of the school. The first day on my job, I met the principal of the school, and she said her name was Miss. She said her name. I don't know how this platform is, but
you're good to go. No worries.
And her name was the same as my first babysitter, who taught me how to write, who taught me how to make sandwiches, who taught me how to fold my clothes, who taught me how to take care of myself and handle my responsibilities in ways that I wasn't. Taught me how to iron and stuff. So she wanted to be a teacher. I didn't learn till later in life, literally right before she died, that all her life she just wanted to be a teacher. So she was giving this to me as my babysitter. And I remember going to preschool, and they're telling me stuff. I know this. I already know this. So, there was that. So she said, oh my goodness, that's so amazing, blah, blah. She they put it together. So we just had conversation. And every day I come into the school, we spark a conversation. And one day she said, well, you all are doing this teacher and credentialing, and it's all about this and opportunities and stuff. And there might be one for you here. Well, what do you mean? Well, because of COVID, Governor Newsom has really taken a very, very intentional approach, and I've only been here since July. But the fact that I feel more engaged with the governor of this state, this huge state, than I have the governor of the last two states I've lived in is ridiculous. And the fact that I was as close as I was to the former governors of Maryland because, well, at least proximity wise, I was good friends with Senator Miller, who passed recently. Him and the Proctor family and all of them, they would come to the church all the time. I remember them visiting my school, and everybody's like, this is Senator Miller, this is Senator Proctor, and they get down the line, they say, hey, Matthew, how you doing? And I'm like, hey. And I got in trouble for that because I was disrupting the line. I can't help who knows me, right? But I've always, even in that proximity to power, I don't feel as engaged with I've never felt as engaged with my governor as I have. So anyway, I just got to say that. But he's very intentional about how students are recovering from COVID. And one thing they've implemented, I'm sure it was there before, but they're really serious about SIPS training right now, which I wish I could say it a little better. It is systematic, instructional, phonemes and phonological phonemes and sight words, right? So that's the whole acronym. But what we do, we're really breaking down children's articulation and how they read. I have a large population of English as a second language learners, and they are it's intense. It's a very strategic, systematic instruction for SIPS training. And so anyway, she said that was a good opportunity. They pretty much set that aside and they're putting people in place. So this was a good opportunity for me to get experience in it. This is a good opportunity for me to learn how teaching goes. And what I found was that the instruction I have at Cal State Teach, where it's valuable, without this experience, the concept makes sense, but seeing it play out and then coming back and seeing in a lesson that this is what I dealt with has been rich. Being able to do it, on the opposite side, I'm experiencing it first and then learning about it. So it's been good. So I do that during the day. I tutor kindergarten, first and second grade in early literacy tutoring. I'm an early literacy tutor during the day. I am also I am the gym person because I am a big kid. So when I come out, I'm throwing the football. We're waving the parachute. I'm trying to teach them the way to play proper games and introducing games that they don't play and organizing the games they're trying to play. Let's play some kickball. Let's play some football. Let's not just throw it. Let's get organized. How many players are on the field at a time? How many positions? What are the positions? So how are we going to do it? If we're going to run, we're going to do this. If we're going to throw, you're going to do that. Like, it's just been good. I am a certified shoe tire. I am a Band-Aid deliverer. I am an ice pack preparer. I am a trash sweeper. I am a yard monitor. I am a runner because I run with the children when we run laps and stuff. And I am a do as I do, not just what I say do type of person. And they love it. I love them. It's crazy. I was in Target last night and I went for a specific reason, and I'm looking at markers and pens and pencils that's going to help with the kids. And I said, no, I'm on break, but I just find myself thinking of ways that can really, really engage them because I can tell that they appreciate it. They appreciate my presence and my attentiveness to them. I can tell that it's not something they had. And I'm only one of 3 male teachers now during the day. Before me, my bro from the cohort that came out started working there. It was only one teacher, and he's a kindergarten teacher. So he's not engaged with all the students. Me and my bro are engaged with all the students more than any other people in the school. And just feeling that has been rich, and also embracing something I've done with the English as second language learners is embrace their culture. And when we have these holidays, Thanksgiving, I ask them, what do we do in cooking? I say, hey, y'all, let's throw out some recipes. What are some things that you all make around this season? Let's try to focus in and see what we can make. And I'm hearing about a bunch of different things. I learned a lot about the Arab community through 3 of my students who are I know they speak Arabic, and I don't know their cultural background specifically, but they are excited because as much as I'm trying to teach them how to read and write, they're excited to teach me Arabic, right? So they give me words and they give me things, and they'll respond to me or they'll ask me questions in their language, and I have to give them the response they talk.
Shukran, marhaba.
Ah, see, and I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So it's cool, and from where you're at, where you've been. But it's really cool. It's really cool to just get the experience from them, and I know I'm sharing, but they've given me way more than I've given them.
That's
That is my
awesome. I think
summary of my
you're,
story.
you're the first guest that's probably broke down all of my questions before I asked. So I thank you for that. But I think what I'm seeing and what I'm appreciating as well is throughout your journey. First of all, you've been bitten by the kids. I was bit by the kids because I never intended on being a teacher. But it's awesome to see how you're transitioning into it, but then answering just different callings and being open to learn. I had a similar experience to where I was able to learn, but then also apply certain skills in a teaching environment that changed the way that I taught in general. There's nothing like being in the classroom with the children. And my experience was with Playworks, which is an AmeriCorps program. So that's how the kids got to me, because I went into schools trying to help them structure and organize their recess so that they would actually play games instead of fight for these certain inner city schools. And it was through that experience that I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go back to school or get the certification so I can do this in a full-time manner. And of course, I've transitioned since then, but the love for my students in all of those varying places and schools that I had the privilege of being in will remain in my heart forever. I'm always going to be an educator no matter where I am. And even like if there's a bunch of kids in a place and I'm in the area, there's a guaranteed way that I'm going to get involved in playing some type of activity with them. So a question that I have for you now, it seems like you're in a good place in the school system right here. Now, I think we discussed that you are a musician. You are a deacon, I believe, within the AME church. You're representing the youth within your denomination, and now you're in the process of becoming a certified teacher. Is there anything that you're wanting to focus on specifically, or you're just open to operating in however you can, wherever you can at the moment? Or is there anything that you're just like, okay, I want to dig a little deeper into this, or how are you navigating that?
How am I navigating? By remaining open. That's been the answer when asked, how are you all adjusting to the experience? How are you all feeling about this? Is I'm open. Like you, I had no intention of being a teacher, and it is not that I was opposed to it. I've been working on this writing called "I'm Not Opposed," because those words put me in a position that shifted my life. But just not being opposed to how God moves in our lives. And for those watching, however you identify with God, I'm not trying to lock somebody in. I'm all about people being. Just be who you are, be what you do, and God will do the rest. So it's hard. My dad would always get on me about, like, Matt, you just need to do one thing. Just do one thing. And it was years that we got to really understand, and helping on the campaign trail, that he said, Matt, I used to always say, like, you should focus on one thing. But then when I think about it, you've never been engaged with one thing. You were always a student and a drummer, right? You were always, when it came to whatever, you were always that in drums, right? And then through the other things you were doing, I was the kid that, again, I was getting a check since seventh grade, but when it came time to work, I had to get a job to prove that I was responsible. I don't really understand, but anyway. So in all these other jobs I would do, I was blessed with opportunities where I did not have to. I didn't have to work in certain jobs that my friends had. but I also wasn't qualified to work in certain jobs that my friends had because my work experience was solely music. Right. So when it came time, here I am. I've been making at least the minimum I made in every 2 weeks was, I guess at the time, maybe $300 since 13 years old. And you're telling me that I can do that from working 1 day a week, from working 1 day a week. I can buy all the Jordans I want. I can buy all the toiletries and things that I need at the house. I can do my own school shopping, and yet I have to go work for $8 an hour to prove that I'm responsible. I'm not trying to do that. That's too much of my time for little. And the concept of time and effort was something I was always on. So I would rather cut a yard of grass for $50 than to work 2 hours flipping burgers for $8. I would always find I can paint a room for $300 in 8 hours than I would working, so finding work was always hard. But I was also blessed with opportunities and skills that started honing other things. So it's like, okay, I can paint. So how do I transform this? I can cut grass. I was cutting grass at 8 years old. So I was getting a check from cutting grass before I was getting a check for playing drums. And I was always trying to hone in on whatever opportunities I had. So I think that's the toughest part about navigating what's next, because so many opportunities are coming at me and have always come at me that it's hard to hone what's next, but just be open. And my intent is to die empty. God gave me something for a reason, and I can't take it to the grave. There's millions of dollars, and I know you've seen or heard the quote before, there's millions of dollars in the cemetery. And not because people paid what they paid to put their body in the ground, but because unfulfilled dreams, desire or direction led by fear. It's all in the grave. It's all in the grave. People who were supposed to cure diseases and people who were supposed to paint masterpieces, but didn't believe in themselves, but didn't know they could do it, right? We're in a time where we don't have to ask for permission. We grew up with the Oprahs and the Ricky Lakes and Jenny Jones and all of them that were like there. And we never really asked, how did they get to that point? How did they work? What work did they do? It wasn't years before I found out that Oprah was a news reporter, right? That she started off slow on the whatever in Baltimore and doing all this stuff, and then it moves on and it transformed into what it was. So I think for a long time we were in this like, these are the people that do it, and now we're in a I can be the people that do it type thing. Like whatever I want to do, whatever I see, whatever I think. And I give a lot of homage to my dad. He's just shared so many things that invite a perspective to stuff. But for him, he didn't even know you could be anything besides a mortician, a preacher, or a teacher where he came from. And when he started going to the library and reading books and engaging people who did more than that, he found out that there was more he could do. And he studied business because he wanted to know what somebody he respected did. And they said they studied business, and he wanted to model and emulate that representation that he saw. At one time, he wanted to be a plumber because he was 12 years old when they got running water in their house. And he just remembered the joy that he got from the plumber coming and putting running water in a toilet flush, and just the joy. He wanted to give that joy to families. So he wanted to be a plumber at one point, right? So it's like, he tells these stories. I'm like, homeboy, you like me. Like you want me to focus on one thing, but you got all these gifts and things too. And I'm always encouraging, like, age ain't really nothing but a number, right? And you can do what you want to do as long as you are alive. You have purpose, you have meaning, you have a reason, and that's how I work in. So if I had to focus and hone on one thing, I would say community development and social justice. I do it differently. I seek it differently. But I feel like everything that I'm doing and everything that I've done hones and centers around social justice and community outreach, especially here in Oakland. Being here in the Bay Area, I've never seen homelessness like I had. I've never seen it right in my face. And my mom worked 20 years with community ministries in Prince George's County. I have slept, fed, monitored, and invited. I've had homeless people over our house, children over to play for the weekend and stuff. Right. I have been at work with the homeless my entire life, and I've never seen it like this. I've never seen it like this. I need to go up the street, see my man, brother Larry, whose home is by the soccer field. And when I can, I take him food and I take him toiletries, I take him stuff, and I engage in conversation with them because you are a person, you're a part of our community, and you're a player in mine. You know, I would be, what happened to brother Larry if I came to the park and you weren't here? Like, where'd he go? And I don't have a way to contact you. I don't have a way to know if you're okay. You know, you're a part of our community and you should know that people care about you. I don't have a vehicle out here, but if I could, I wish I had a truck to load up all the food that gets thrown away in the school system. I mean, it's regulation. I get it, keeping our children safe, but good Lord, the people we could be feeding, the people we could be helping, the way we could really, I'm really focusing on leverage and positioning right now. How do we use our leverage as organizations, as people? How do we unite? It's great to do it for voting rights. It's great to do it to get certain people out of office. It's great to rally around the things that we all want at the same time. But what about those things that we can be doing in the meantime? And I'm always asking myself the question when I turn on the news, very rarely, and as well as attend some of these conferences and things, what would we be talking about if this wasn't the thing? What would we be doing if this wasn't the thing? I'm really curious about what life would look like now if it weren't for a year of coronavirus. And not a year, I know it's been more than a year, but for a year, all we saw was corona. What would life have been? Like, what mess might we have been in? What things might we have never adapted to? At what point would this interview have never taken place because your need to lead in this space did not provide you with the resources or opportunity to fly me out in person and host and do all this stuff we got to do to make this happen, you know? And yet we're here in 2 states, in 2 different places, talking and having this conversation and going to share it with people out in the world. Like, so it's also exciting to know, like, what we have even gotten here, right? But what can we do? What can we be doing and what can we be working on that are going to solve the issues before they become an issue? One thing I say all the time is, I hate to see it, it's no strategy without tragedy. And it's just like, it takes things to break down before folks start thinking about what do we do? And I'm usually thinking about what we do before it breaks down. So that's what my focus is right now: community outreach, building, growing, and getting ahead of the wave.
Listen, when I'm just reflecting on some of the things that you were saying, and once again, I can appreciate the fact that you brought out the fact that it's just opportunities. In the same right, a lot of the things that I've been privileged to be a part of was out of opportunity to meet somebody or have a conversation or be able to travel into certain places. My entire career has been off of basically referrals. There's only been one job that I've had that I got kind of on my own, and I didn't like it because it was at the bank. I was a teller and I was miserable. But a lot of things, all the way up from college throughout, was an introduction and somebody giving me an opportunity to be a part of that place in that space. And collecting all of these opportunities gives us the resources that we need to navigate through uncertainty. Because I think a lot of times, thankfully, in the positions that I've had, even when it was in the inner city schools, they were surprised at how well I was able to handle those particular situations. And it's just like, well, I mean, I've been through this, I've had the opportunity to do that, or I've done that. And even teaching abroad, when coming in, they were just like, how did you get the kids to do that? I'm just like, because I told them what I wanted them to do. But it was from my experience from being in Southeast DC, and you know, the authority that you have to command when you're trying to get kids to be engaged in that fight. You know what I'm saying? So another thing that you mentioned is the fact that we don't have to, follow a certain script. And I think our grandparents and our parents have been accustomed to saying, just get that one good job and just stick with it, because their level of opportunities were limited back then. And now we can wake up and say that, we are whatever we are. We turn on your phone and you can say, I am X, and people accept it. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's an amazing opportunity that we have these days to be able to market it. But another thing that I wanted to mention was that you're multi-talented, and that's something that in other cultures they leverage. The fact that you can cut grass and play the drums and teach, or play whatever you're doing, they leverage that thing and they turn it into a business. But we see it as an individual skill that only makes like money for that particular time. So we have yet to even still hone in on the unique skills that we have to be able to flip it. So if you got all your homeboys from the neighborhood and you started a lawn care business from the time that you were 8 years old, 12 years old, look what that could have turned into. Or if the things that we were interested in were nurtured, and there's no fault to our communities, to our parents, we just didn't know. We didn't know. And no disrespect to our counterparts, but when they have Uncle Bob or Aunt Sally that was like, oh yeah, I'll give you X amount of money, or grandma, whatever, I'll give you X amount of money, go try that business, and if you fail, it's no problem, you can come stay back at the house. For a lot of us, it wasn't that option. It was, you are our hope. If you don't go out there and get this education and get a good job, we won't have this house, or we won't have these opportunities. So I feel like one of the things that I want to continue to leverage as I continue to grow, and if God decides to bless me with like a family and children, is providing an atmosphere to where they can try different things. And that's where I'm in the experimental phase, where I'm blessed to be able to try something. So I'm not in a school right now because I'm trying something, right? And pass, fail, or what have you. I'm happy that I'm able to experiment with that, so that I can encourage other people, which is another reason why this podcast is important to me, is that I'm encouraging people to just try. I don't care if you're doing 16 different things. If you make 13 work, amen. So yeah, I'm reflecting and thanking you for, bringing that back to light. It's like you don't have to hone in on anything. All of those skills make you a valuable asset in whatever space that you're in.
Thank you for that. And you hit on convo I engage in quite often, more often now than any other time, is just the fact, our parents didn't know what was out there. They didn't know how to rear, and they were scared for us, for our safety. And to hear that perspective of you are our hope, that wasn't my story. So there's frustration that comes about the fact that there are things. I saw something that said those things that you wish you learned, the things you learn late, teach your kids early. Right. And I thought about that because I really wondered why I wasn't given the skills, or why it wasn't honed. That okay, he's cutting grass and he's doing something. Not that they didn't support it, because they definitely did. They supported what I was doing, but I didn't know how to nurture what I was putting in the ground. I didn't know how to nurture the seed. I didn't know how to grow it and help it germinate into what would have been an opportunity for me 20 years later when I'm in high school. And I got people cutting grass for me while I'm sitting in the thing, because they were like, hey, we got to position them. We got to let them do this stuff. My nephew is like a little brother to me, but I had to pull back a lot just because I was trying to give him so much that I wish I got when I was his age, that I found myself becoming who I didn't like showing me stuff, the parts of my upbringing that I didn't like receiving. And I was becoming that. No, it's this way. No, it's that way. No. And not go, and yes, and this is great. This is cool, but why don't da 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 da, or I see where you're going. How about you da 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 da? And I know that I'm positioning him for greatness, but he just needs to be praised in what he's doing, right? Like, okay, that's good. Let's start there, right? Like, that's good, awesome. I might not even think it's good, but that's good, right? So, in doing those things to really like try to just build, but yeah, we trying to give it back, trying to get on it. It wasn't my story, but I know that I'm trying to really position children now, especially the students in the class, like to, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Yeah, do that. But I'm also asking questions. What do you know about that? Tell me about it. How you feel about, how does it make you feel? And found in expressing themselves that I can answer questions, or they're going to ask questions. They're going to ask questions, or in my question, it's going to prompt them to ask questions as I'm asking questions that allow me to share with them what I want to share with them. And yeah, I think that's important that we do that because we're the generation that knows that
But that's
do
key,
things.
like creating the space for the students to be able to ask
Yeah,
questions. That is key. And I think definitely when I was in the inner city, um, getting the children to the point where they could express themselves, and it's still so much work to do. But I start like just standing in front of the breakfast line and saying good morning. How are you doing today? And they'd be like, good. And I'm just like, can you find another word? Like, is there anything else? Are you tired? Are you ecstatic? Are you sleepy? Like, give me another word. I feel like so many times, especially, I mean, even with adults, we just gloss over how people are actually doing. And in this day and age, and inside of still this pandemic, we just gloss over our emotions. And I mean, it's something that I've been working through in general. Just, but I think in our community, we just always need to get things done, but we don't necessarily consider how something or someone makes us feel in order to be not even just productive, but just to navigate how people want to respond. And then so I can relate to you as well. I've been hustling since God knows how long, right? Been braiding hair since I can remember, since probably early elementary, middle school, and things like that. But I've always been able to do things, to hustle, to make things work out. So I think it's great. I think what I'm most excited about is I can see the fire that you have for the community in whatever place you're in the community, be it in schools, be it in the actual community, being able to connect with the people who live there. I've never necessarily considered people who are homeless to be a part of the community. And I think that's important because they are humans and they can be, restored to a place to where they feel more valuable, to where they want to. Because my family has, they started drug rehabilitation centers before. So, I've been in places where people were in my own home trying to just, live right for the day, to make it back. And, I've been a person who has had somebody who abused drugs in their home, and just seeing that cycle repeat over and over again. It's heartbreaking, but there is a place where you can treat individuals as humans no matter how many times they fall. So I think that was key. What I want to do now, well, I want to thank you for the time that you spent with me and the things that you've shared thus far. I do just want to get 3 tips from you. And like I said to you earlier, you can take it however you want. You can just share any tips that you feel like will be important in today's day and age for anybody. So I want to give you that opportunity to share that.
Okay. I would say be, capital BE, be yourself, for yourself, by yourself. It is up to you to be and to do and to produce and to grow all that is inside of you. It is nobody else's job, and you need no one else's permission to manifest what it is that God has for you, whatever that may be. Number 2, cancel culture. I've been saying cancel culture before it was the prompt, because it was disturbing how we separate, how we divide. I don't think I don't think our society even sees how divided we are dividing the division. Right? Like, it's just a constant splitting and splitting and splitting. There's these satisfaction videos on Instagram where they cut a little ball and it spreads out in all these colors, and you cut it again, it's more colors, and cut it again, and that's what I see happening. It's amazing seeing it in the kids. Two things that happened. One, when I got to the school, there was the conversation about the vaccine in children, about vaccinating children or not. And one thing that was missing from the conversation was the children. But I was at the school hearing the children. And it was like, oh my gosh. Do you know what they like? One kid's about to go to the doctor and they're scared that when they go, someone's going to give them the shot. The other kid is like, I go on Friday and I can get it. And they're arguing. They're like, well, you can't get it because you're not 12, and you can't get it because whatever. I can get it though because I turned 12 or whatever. And I'm like, look at the community. Look at what's happening. These children are having a whole dialogue that we aren't even invited to. Like, they didn't even. But it was amazing. So it's like, considering that, it's like they're divided. So now some of them are getting shots. And now there's this separation of, well, I'm vaccinated. You're not vaccinated. It's like, hey, why? Why is this happening? So that happened. And I'm getting back to cancel culture, just these different mindsets. Part of community is accepting that people have the opportunity to feel and believe differently than you do. And when it came to politics and stuff, and oh, this person is that person, and this person is that person, and you're this if you like this, and you're not this if you like this. Oh my gosh, how about we all shut down and realize that we are our own leaders? And if we come together, as much as we're dividing, we won't need no president to tell us what to do, right? And half the stuff that I'm involved in, or half the stuff that I want to see, Brother Larry is not affected by who's in office right now. And who's in office is not thinking about Brother Larry. I promise you, they're not. So I don't care, and when it comes to it, I just think there's more we can do. We decide this behavior, this mindset, this thing, this way is it. And we all agree that this is it. And if you are outside of it, you are canceled. And we got to stop that. We just have to stop. God made us all how we are. There are some terrible people. There are some great people. But we don't get to define or the qualities of that. There are people who murdered people in jail who have helped people restore and be restored when they got out. Does that excuse the crime? Does it change anything? No, but does it take away from their humanity? Does it take away from their redemption? Does it take away that they can change? Because we want to be, when we make mistakes, we want to be accepted. Anyway, cancel culture. And the last one, what would the last one be? I said be cancel culture, grow forth. Grow forth. We say go forth, and that's go. I could go over there and I'm still forward. I could take 2 steps over there and I'm forward, but I didn't leave the house, right? So make sure you're growing forth. Grow forth, everyone. Grow forth.
Listen. Thank you. Thank you for that. I want to ask for our listeners, anybody that wants to connect or follow or support some of the efforts that I'm sure you're going to have in the near future, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at MSEADRUMS on Instagram. That's MC Drums. I thought it was kind of cool, like MC, but that's it. Yeah, so MC Drums. And then on Twitter, I am DrumMatt87, DRUMMATT87 on Twitter. And then I am H Matthew Seawright on Facebook. I'll maybe on those platforms I'll drop my LinkedIn information. It needs a revamp. All my names are what they are when I created them, and I thought that was important to keep the consistency of what it is, except for Facebook. But Drum Mat 87 as well as MC Drums have been my handles since I've had Twitter and Instagram, and I hope to maintain that. As much as I guess some would consider me some type of influence in whatever regard, I haven't gotten into I gotta change my name and no, I am me. That's why in the very beginning, how do you know me? Call me that. Call me that. Titles, all that stuff, whatever jobs and opportunities don't matter if I'm not giving it back and I'm not making a difference in this community. Because if not, my presence means nothing. So,
Listen, Brother Matt, you have said a mouthful, and I'm definitely going to be able to reflect on this, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful that you are in the schools. It is great to know that there's another Black male in the schools. Being there for these students is definitely needed. I'm thankful. So Matt and I, we met because he used to drum at my church. But I'm thankful for everything that you're doing, and now it's been a pleasure to watch your journey, and I look forward to seeing more of the awesome things that you're doing in the future.
Thank you, because I was gonna when you sent it, I was like, wow, that's cool, because I've reflected on your experience throughout this time as well, and how that came up, and it was whoa, and I'm moving, and I'm not just moving next door, I'm going, to do it, and I just thought that was great. So to be on the platform and be able to share and even be invited, someone who took the opportunity to go and do the work. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you. So for everybody, if you are a unicorn or you know somebody that is, I'd love to continue to have this conversation with them. Feel free to drop me a DM or leave a comment below. Until next time, we'll see you.